Welcome to the mini book podcast, Proof of Christ Edition.
We're so glad you could join us. We're going to be getting into some really fascinating material today, pulling from excerpts of the book Signs and Secrets of the Messiah by Rabbi Jason Sobel.
That's right. And our mission for this conversation, it's really clear. We're diving straight into the source material to pull out the key insights, really focusing in on the evidence the author presents for why Jesus Christ is understood to be the divine Son of God.
Exactly. We're going to be looking at the deep Jewish context, the numerical symbolism, the analysis of the miracles, everything that connects the Old Testament promises with the New Testament fulfillment in the person of Yeshua.
And we should probably mention Yeshua is the name we'll often use. It's his original Hebrew name.
It is. Now, just a quick note before we jump in. The voices you're hearing are, in fact, generated by AI.
Right. But the content, the ideas, the core of this whole discussion comes straight from Rabbi Sobel's work. We just feel this is a really great way to engage with the material and learn why Jesus Christ is God.
Absolutely. And we really hope that after listening, you'll be encouraged to go out and purchase the book. It's so important to support the author.
It really is.
Yeah.
And, we thank you for listening. If you enjoy this, please consider subscribing for more content like it.
So to really get started, we have to kind of adjust our thinking. We need to adopt the framework of Jewish thought, which sees the Bible not as a flat book.
Right, not just a collection of stories.
No, it's more like a building with, infinite layers of meaning. We're trying to look past the surface to find these deeper spiritual truths that are woven right into the text.
And to do that, you need special tools, so to speak.
You do. We're talking about using sources like the Mishnah, the Talmud, the writings of ancient sages, and this is a big one, the alphanumeric nature of the Hebrew language itself. These are the keys that unlock the evidence of Yeshua's true identity.
That idea of infinite layers is, it's such a powerful way to start. It changes how you approach the text from the very beginning.
Mm-hmm.
Rabbi Sobel uses this great analogy of the Bible as an ocean. It's shallow enough for a child to wade in and get the story, but it's also so deep that even the most brilliant scholar could never, ever reach the bottom. It's inexhaustible.
And that metaphor is so key because it implies a divine architecture, a design, the idea that the surface story is intentionally protecting these deeper truths.
So to really grasp who Yeshua is and the authority he carried, we have to go beyond just the history.
Way beyond. We have to look at the linguistics, the numerics, the precise words chosen, the connections between the Old and New Testaments. That's where you find the secrets and mysteries, the meaning that God himself hid inside the text.
I think this is a good point to maybe define a few key terms. We'll be using some Hebrew words, and it's important for you, the listener, to have a solid grasp on them.
A vital step, yes.
Right.
So first, as we mentioned, is Yeshua. It's the original Hebrew name for Jesus, and it means salvation.
Okay, simple enough. Then Besorah.
Besorah, that's the Hebrew word for the accounts of the good news, what we typically call the Gospels.
Right. And the last one is a word many people think they know, but it has so much more depth. Shalom.
Oh, it's monumental. It gets translated as peace, but that's just scratching the surface, not just the absence of war.
No.
Shalom means completeness, wholeness, prosperity, total well-being. It means you have no lack in any area of your life, spiritually, physically, financially, relationally. It's the state of perfection humanity was designed for.
So when Yeshua offers peace, he's offering total restoration.
Total. Complete. That's the promise.
Now, you mentioned the author uses sources beyond just the Bible to kind of rebuild this first-century Jewish world. Let's talk about those.
Right. To really get the context Yeshua was operating in, you can't ignore the legal and cultural landscape. So a major supplemental source he uses is the Mishnah.
And the Mishnah is?
What, exactly?
It's the written text of the Jewish law code.
Yeah.
It was compiled around AD 200, but it contains all the traditions, the legal arguments, and the practical ways the Torah was applied for centuries. Now, wait a second. If it was compiled after Yeshua's time, how does it help us understand him? Wouldn't it be, reflecting later ideas?
That's a really important question. The Mishnah is the written version of what was known as the oral Torah. These were the interpretations and debates that were very much alive and active during Yeshua's lifetime.
Oh, I see.
So when we see Yeshua challenging certain traditions, he's not arguing with the Bible, with the Torah itself. He's often engaging with this established human-applied legal system that the Pharisees were following. The Mishnah gives us that crucial backdrop.
It's like having the official rulebook for the culture he was speaking into.
Precisely.
I also noticed the author uses a specific Bible translation a lot, the Tree of Life version or TLV. What makes that one different?
The TLV is really interesting. It was put together by Messianic Jewish and Christian scholars with a very specific goal: to recover the authentic Jewish context of the scriptures.
How does it do that?
Well, it restores Hebrew names, it highlights cultural concepts that often get lost in translation. It's a conscious effort to read the New Testament not as the start of a new religion, but as the absolute fulfillment of everything Judaism was waiting for.
That makes the whole setting so much more vibrant. Okay, so let's get into what might be the most fascinating tool the author uses. Gematria, the numerical significance of words.
This is where you really see the evidence of divine authorship. Hebrew is an alphanumeric language.
Meaning every letter is also a number?
Every single one. So every Hebrew word has a built-in numerical value. And the core idea, the assumption, is that when two different words share the same numerical value, it's not a coincidence.
It's a deliberate connection.
It's a deliberate connection, a hint, a secret, a deeper meaning that God himself wove into the very fabric of the language.
So just to make it concrete, if the word for love and the word for one happen to have the same numerical value, that would be seen as a theological statement.
Exactly. It would be a precise message, a divine fingerprint. It suggests that every single detail, down to the individual letter, is part of this incredible ordered design. It's not just inspired literature. It's divinely coded architecture.
Divine architecture, I like that. Let's use the author's first example to make this real for everyone, the number 8.
Okay, the number 8. It consistently symbolizes a kind of divine intervention. A new beginning. Think about the tabernacle. God tells Moses to consecrate it, and the process takes 8 days.
Right.
For the first 7 days, Moses does all the work. He sets it up, takes it down. It's a cycle of human effort that mirrors the 7 days of creation. 6 days of work, 1 day of rest.
7 being that number of earthly perfection or completion.
Exactly. But on the 8th day, something totally new happens. The glory of God, the Shekinah, fills the tabernacle. It's no longer just Moses' work, it's a supernatural event.
So 7 is the natural order, and 8 is God breaking into that order, is something beyond, a new supernatural reality.
That is the pattern. The number 8 represents God's glory, entering and consecrating the finished work. And you see it everywhere. Circumcision is on the 8th day. Yeshua rose from the dead on the 8th day, the first day of the new week. It's always a sign of the Messiah who brings a new creation.
Okay, so with that numerical and linguistic foundation, we can see that the timing and setting of Yeshua's actions are anything but random. They're loaded with this divine architecture.
Loaded, yes.
So let's apply all this to Yeshua's first public miracle, the wedding at Cana in John chapter 2. This event just explodes with meaning, starting with the very first line. It happened on the 3rd day.
And that timing is just, it's not a throwaway detail. It's deeply significant in Jewish tradition. The 3rd day of the week, Tuesday, was considered the best day to get married.
Why Tuesday?
Because if you go back to creation story in Genesis, the 3rd day is the only day that God blesses twice.
Oh, right. In Genesis 1, it says, God saw that it was good 2 separate times on that day.
Exactly, a double blessing. So it was seen as this incredibly auspicious, doubly blessed day for a new beginning, especially a covenant like marriage. It links this wedding in Galilee all the way back to the goodness of creation itself.
And just the fact that it's a wedding, I mean, for anyone familiar with the Old Testament, that's a huge signal.
A massive one. The prophets are constantly using the metaphor of a marriage. God is the groom, and his people, Israel, are the bride.
So for Yeshua to perform his very first public sign, a miracle of incredible abundance, at a wedding, he's basically announcing something.
He's announcing that he is the promised bridegroom. This isn't just a miracle to help out the host. It's a sneak preview, a trailer for the ultimate celebration, the great wedding supper of the Lamb that we read about in Revelation.
The moment prophecy becomes reality, and the substance of the miracle, the wine, that's just as loaded with meaning, right?
It absolutely is. Wine in the Old Testament is always linked to joy, to celebration, and especially to the Messianic kingdom.
Can you give us an example of that?
Look at Genesis 49. Jacob is prophesying over his son Judah, and he says, the Messiah will come from his line. and that in his day there will be so much abundance he'll wash his clothes in wine. Wine will flow like water.
So turning water into wine wasn't just impressive, it was a direct claim. He was bringing a taste of that promised messianic abundance into the present.
That's it. And think about what good wine is. It gets better with time. It matures. It deepens. It's an image for how God designed us to be, to grow and mature into something more wonderful over time. The wine Yeshua made represents that perfected supernatural quality of the age to come.
Now, this miracle immediately sets up a comparison, a really important one, a comparison between Yeshua and the first great redeemer of Israel, Moses. The author argues that showing Yeshua is superior to Moses is a major theme in John's gospel.
It's essential. For a first-century Jew, Moses was the pinnacle. Deuteronomy says he was unique, that he knew God face to face. He was the standard against which all other prophets were measured.
But John's gospel opens by saying Yeshua is the Word, who was face to face with God from the very beginning.
Do you see the elevation there? Moses had an incredible, unique relationship with God. But Yeshua is God, eternally with the Father. His authority isn't granted like a prophet's, it's inherent.
And their first signs couldn't be more different. Moses turned water into blood.
Right, a sign of judgment and death against the gods of Egypt.
But Yeshua turns water into wine.
A sign of abundance, celebration, and life. He said he came to bring life and life to the full. That contrast is intentional. From judgment to blessing, from death to life. It proves he is the greater redeemer, the one Moses himself was pointing to.
Okay, this is where it gets really deep into the secrets, the details of the setting. The 6 stone water pots. Why 6?
The 6 pots were for water used in ritual purification. The number 6 points directly to the 6 days of creation. It's another link back to Genesis.
Okay.
And there was a teaching among the rabbis about a special, miraculous wine preserved in its grapes since the 6 days of creation that would only be opened in the Messianic age.
So, by filling those 6 pots, which represent the 6 days of creation,
he was giving them a taste of that reserved Messianic wine. He was serving them a glass of the future. It was a demonstration that he had authority over creation and time itself.
And the wine itself was described as new old wine. It was brand new, but it tasted like it had been aged to perfection.
Right, and that symbolizes this idea of supernatural maturation. It's wisdom and depth that isn't earned over decades, but is given supernaturally.
And what does that mean for the kingdom of God?
It symbolizes the bringing together of the old and the new. The old covenant people, Israel, and the new covenant people from all nations brought together into one body. Yeshua even talked about this, how a master of the house brings out treasures both new and old. This wine was that treasure. It was shalom, wholeness in a cup.
So if Cana established his authority as the Redeemer, the second public act, the cleansing of the temple, is him putting that authority into action in the most sacred place on earth. And again, the timing is everything. It's around Passover.
Yes, Pesach, which is called Zan Cheretenu, the time of our freedom. It's all about remembering Israel's redemption from slavery in Egypt.
But there's a deeper spiritual lesson there, isn't there?
Oh, absolutely. Freedom isn't the final goal. Freedom is for a purpose. God told Pharaoh, "Let my people go so they may serve me." Redemption leads to service.
So getting Israel out of Egypt was step 1. Step 2 was getting Egypt out of Israel.
Exactly, and that requires purification, which brings us to the whole concept of leaven, or hametz.
Okay, let's break that down. Hametz is the rising agent in bread. What does it represent spiritually?
In the Bible, leaven is almost always a symbol of something negative. Sin, pride, corruption. That evil inclination inside us. Think about how it works. A tiny bit of yeast puffs up the whole lump of dough.
It inflates it.
It inflates it. Just like pride and hidden sin can corrupt a whole person or a whole community from the inside out.
That's why there's this tradition of meticulously cleaning the entire house of any trace of leaven before Passover starts.
Right. It's a physical act that represents a spiritual reality. And that is exactly what Yeshua was doing. He was doing the ultimate spiritual house cleaning. He was cleansing the temple, his father's house, of the spiritual hametz, the sin of greed and corruption, to prepare it for the true Passover.
And that act of flipping tables and driving out animals, I mean, that's not a gentle suggestion. That is a radical, bold display of authority. The author calls it chutzpah.
Holy chutzpah, yes. It's that holy audacity. And by doing this, he's forcing the question, By what authority do you do these things? This isn't just a prophet anymore. This is someone claiming ownership of the house.
And the numerical symbolism of this being his second public act is, again, incredibly revealing.
Because it's the second act, it connects to the number 2. The second letter of the Hebrew alphabet is bet.
Okay.
The letter bet literally means house, like be it Hamikdash, the holy house, the temple.
So he's cleansing the house, the bet. That's a direct link.
It is, but it goes deeper. The letter bet is also the first letter of the Hebrew word for son, which is ben. And get this, the numerical value of the word ben, son, is 2.
Whoa. So the second act is done by the son, Ben, with a value of 2 in the house, bet. That's too precise to be a coincidence.
It's the divine architecture. And the author points out that if you take the very first letter of the Bible, which is a bet, and the very last letter of the New Testament, a nun, together they spell ben, son. The entire story of Scripture, from start to finish, is about revealing the Son.
That's staggering. It completely reframes how you read everything in between.
It does. And we can take the gematria even one step further to see how it confirms his identity as the suffering servant Messiah.
This involves the number 138.
Right. This is where it gets really precise. In Isaiah 9, there's the prophecy, to us a son is given. The numerical value of that Hebrew phrase, to us a son, is 138.
Yeah, 138 equals the promised son.
But then you find that other key messianic titles also equal 138. The title branch, which is a messianic title, is 138. The phrase in Isaiah about the Messiah's death, my servant will prosper, is 138. And the title Son of God, then Elohim, is also 138.
Wait, let me process that. The promised son, the branch, the suffering servant who prospers through his death, and the Son of God. They are all numerically identical.
All 138. And the concept of removing leaven, purification from sin, also aligns with 138. The math becomes the theology. It proves that the mission of the divine Son is tied directly to the cleansing of sin from his Father's house.
So the cleansing of the temple wasn't just an angry outburst. It was a prophetic act, a declaration that the Son had come to purify his house.
And he confirmed it by prophesying its replacement. When they asked for a sign, he said, "Destroy this temple and I will raise it again in 3 days." He was talking about his own body. He was the true temple, the true house, who would replace the physical building.
From that very public confrontation, the story shifts to a secret late-night meeting with Nicodemus in John chapter 3. This conversation gives us yet another layer of proof for Yeshua's divinity.
And Nicodemus is such a key figure. This isn't just some random guy. He's a Pharisee, a ruler of the people, probably on the Sanhedrin. He had everything to lose by being seen with Yeshua.
Which is why he came at night.
Exactly. And we have to remember who the Pharisees were. They were the most devout, the most zealous for the Torah. They were trying to live with the purity of a priest in their everyday lives. Nicodemus saw Yeshua's signs and he just knew this was a teacher come from God.
But then Yeshua hits him with his statement, unless one is born from above, he cannot see the kingdom of God. Nicodemus is just baffled.
Totally confused. And it's understandable. In the thinking of the day, only a Gentile converting to Judaism needed to be reborn. A Jew was already born into the covenant.
But Yeshua is saying everyone needs this, Jew and Gentile alike, a supernatural birth.
A birth from above by the Spirit. And to explain it, the author draws this amazing parallel from Israel's own history.
The nation of Israel had 2 births.
It did. The first was a natural birth when 70 souls went down into Egypt. But then, after 400 years, they had a supernatural national birth when God multiplied them into millions and brought them out of slavery.
And that timeline, 400 years, it has a parallel to pregnancy, doesn't it?
It does. It's roughly equivalent to 40 weeks, a full-term pregnancy. The 10 plagues were like the labor pains. So Israel's own story shows this pattern, a natural birth, then a supernatural one. And Yeshua is telling Nicodemus that every single person needs the same thing to enter the kingdom.
This whole idea of a heavenly reality and an earthly one leads directly to Yeshua's most stunning claim in that conversation about ascending and descending.
This is the moment he stops being just a great teacher and asserts his unique divine nature. He says, no one has gone up into heaven except the one who came down from heaven, the Son of Man.
And in Jewish thought, ascending and descending, that's Moses' territory. He went up the mountain.
Right, or the prophets who had heavenly visions. But Yeshua is claiming something infinitely greater. He's claiming pre-existence. He's claiming to have come from heaven in the first place.
In this statement, it's basically a direct answer to an ancient riddle from the Old Testament.
It is, from Proverbs 30, which asks, who has gone up into heaven and come down? What is his name and what is the name of his son, if you know?
Wow. It's literally asking for the identity of God's son.
And Yeshua is standing there telling Nicodemus, I am the answer to that riddle. He's the one who descended and will ascend. He's the unique mediator between heaven and earth.
And to explain how this new birth happens, he uses this really strange analogy, the serpent on the pole.
Yeah, that one can be really unsettling at first. He's referencing the story in the book of Numbers where the Israelites were being bitten by poisonous snakes.
And God tells Moses to put a bronze serpent up on a pole, and anyone who looked at it would be healed.
Right. It's so counterintuitive. Why would looking at an image of the very thing that's killing you bring life?
So what's the logic there?
It's the principle of substitutionary redemption. The bronze serpent wasn't alive, it was sinless metal. But it bore the image of the curse, of the sin that was killing the people. In the same way, Yeshua was lifted up on the cross.
And the Hebrew word for lifted up.
Nasa. It means both lifted up and bore. He was lifted up, bearing our sin, taking the curse upon himself, so that anyone who simply looks to him, who believes, can receive life.
The sin bearer is lifted up so the sinners can live.
That's the mechanism. And there's an even deeper mystery in that serpent symbol. Remember back in Exodus, Moses' staff turned into a serpent and it swallowed the serpents of the Egyptian magicians?
Yeah.
That was a foreshadowing. And the gematria confirms it in the most stunning way.
The number 358.
The numerical value of the word Mashiach, Messiah, is 358. And the numerical value of the Hebrew word for the serpent is also 358.
You're kidding. Messiah and serpent are the same number.
The same number. It confirms that the holy serpent, the Messiah, is the one who swallows up the evil serpent, who swallows up death itself, just as Isaiah prophesied. It's the ultimate proof of his power to bring eternal life.
The whole story brings us to one last sign that ties all these threads together beautifully. It's the healing of the nobleman's son, back in Cana of Galilee. The location itself, Cana, is another secret key.
It is. The very name Cana, which is Cana in Hebrew, is made of 3 letters that can be read in a few different ways, each one revealing something about Yeshua's identity.
So if you read it as Cana,
it means reed. This connects directly to the prophecy in Isaiah that the Messiah would be gentle, that he would not break a bruised reed. It speaks of his compassion for the broken and marginalized people of that very region.
So reed equals compassion, but then you can pronounce the same 3 letters as Kona.
And Kone means creator. We see this word used for God in Genesis 14, creator of heaven and earth. This confirms what John said in his opening chapter. Yeshua is the Word through whom all things were made.
And healing someone instantly from miles away, that's an act of creation. He's speaking life into existence, proving he is the Kona.
He is the creator, and his power isn't limited by space or time, which makes the connection to his role as Redeemer seamless.
And there's a third meaning, right? Kanita.
Yes. Cana can also mean purchased or acquired. In Exodus, it's used to say that God purchased or redeemed Israel. This confirms Yeshua's mission to be the ultimate redeemer, the one who purchased his bride, the church, with his own life.
So the very name of the town, Cana, is like a secret summary of his entire identity. The compassionate reed who is the creator who came to purchase us back.
Exactly. And the author points out that this ties back to the first miracle at that same place. When Yeshua revealed his glory by turning water to wine, that word glory in John's gospel is almost always a code word for the glory revealed on the cross. His first sign was pointing to his ultimate purpose.
All of these miracles are about healing, but on a deeper level, they're about moving people toward wholeness, toward shalom. And this leads to an amazing insight into the Hebrew word for sickness.
Yes, the word for sick is chola, and the root of that word means to make a hole or to hollow out.
So sickness is a void, an emptiness.
It's a void. It's a place where life or God's presence or holiness is missing, and that vacuum allows chaos and disease to rush in. It's like the chaos and void, the tohu vavohu, from the 2nd verse of the Bible.
That's why Yeshua warns about an empty house being filled by worse things. You can't just leave a void.
You have to fill it. And Yeshua's healing is the opposite of sickness. He doesn't just treat the symptom, he fills the hole. He fills the void with his presence, with the Holy Spirit, and that brings wholeness, yut, which is related to the word for creation, bara. He makes a new creation inside the person.
And of course, there's one last piece of gematria to lock this all in, to connect sickness directly to the Messiah's mission.
This is one of the most powerful ones. The numerical value of chola, sick, is 49. The numerical value of gola, exile, is also 49.
So though the language itself is telling you that being sick and being in spiritual exile, far from God, are the same problem.
They're two sides of the same coin. They're the same deficiency. But how do you solve the 49 problem?
Let me guess.
Look at the symbols of redemption. The numerical value of lamb is 49, the value of blood is 49, and the phrase to the slaughter is 49.
I get stopped for a second there. The number for the problem, sickness, and exile is 49. And the number for the solution, the lamb's blood, is also 49. That's coded proof.
It's God's signature written into the math of the language, and 49 is 7 times 7, the number of ultimate completion and redemption. It confirms that the lamb's blood is the perfect answer to our sickness and our exile. It's the ultimate source of shalom.
This whole exploration has been just incredible, from a wedding on a Tuesday all the way to the mathematical proof hidden in the language. Let's try to sum up the identity of Yeshua that's been revealed here. This is not just a great teacher.
Not at all. He is revealed as the divine Son, the Ben Elohim, who operates with the full authority of the Creator, the Kona. He's the Redeemer who purchased us with the blood of the Lamb, solving that 49 problem. He's the King who came to purify us from the leaven of sin and bring us the new old wine of the kingdom.
Every single sign, the wedding, the temple, the talk with Nicodemus, was just another layer, another piece of evidence testifying that he was divine, co-equal with the Father.
That's the core message.
And this is where it becomes so relevant for us
Yeah.
right now. All of these works, these signs and healings, they're not just stories in a book to be admired.
No, they're not museum pieces. Yeshua made an incredible promise. In John 14, he said that those who trust in him would do the works that he did, and even greater works.
And that's our final thought for you, the listener. If Yeshua is who this evidence says he is, the divine Son who operated with that holy chutzpah, then we are invited to walk in that same authority.
The challenge, then, is to move past just believing these things intellectually and to step into an active, expectant faith, to have an abundance of chutzpah ourselves, and to trust God to do these greater works of healing and transformation in our lives today.
That's a powerful place to end. We really want to thank you for joining us on this exploration into why Jesus Christ is God, drawing from this incredible material in Signs and Secrets of the Messiah.
We truly hope you'll subscribe and maybe share this with someone else who would find these connections as fascinating as we do.
And please let us know in the comments if there are other books you'd like us to look into for future conversations. We really value your suggestions.
Thank you again for subscribing and for listening. We hope this empowers you to look for the signs and secrets in your own life.